What's shaking, cats and kittens? Rob Lee here, and today's episode of The Truth in This Art is sponsored by a new online art platform called Fire and Bliss Creative. Fire and Bliss is the first art platform that I've seen that focuses on the art of the LGBTQ plus BIPOC and allied artists exclusively. And I have to say, the pieces are amazing. Whether you're looking specifically to add diverse art to your collection, or you have a space that needs a bit of updating, every single print on fireandbliss.com has been created by a diverse, independent artist who maintains full control over their art and their profit. I worked with Fire and Bliss to curate a collection of my favorite pieces, like Somewhere Blue by Wodrich Francois. Shop my favorites at fireandbliss.com/truth and get 20% off your first purchase at Fire and Bliss. Again, that's fireandbliss.com/truth and use the code TRUTH for 20% off your first purchase. Welcome to The Truth in This Art. I am your host, Rob Lee, and today I have the privilege of speaking with life coach, artist, Reiki master, and the owner of Firefly Life Coaching. Please welcome Sarah Magida. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you here. I'm glad we were able to get this on this nice early spring. I think it's early spring. I think that's what we can safely call it.
Definitely early spring. Yeah. It's still March, technically, you know.
This is true.
Yeah.
And you're wearing, is that you on your shirt, on your?
Yes, it's me on my jacket. It says I love myself, and there are pictures of me, of my face on it.
You have a crown. You have a crown in there, so I feel like that's going to come.
I have a crown on my head. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
This is going to be great. So I want to start off. I gave my intro, but I'm sure the intro is deeper than that. So I want to invite you to introduce yourself and tell us how you got started in the arts, and maybe what was that first art making experience for you?
All right. So yes, I am. I'm Sarah. I own Firefly Life Coaching, which is basically just me at this point. And I am most of the time, I'm a practicing artist. I do a lot of fibers art. And I started the arts very early, as many people do, like when I could paint with my fingers and hold crayons. And I would also sneak out of recess in daycare, and everyone was like, "Where'd Sarah go?" And I was painting in the classroom. And my mom always said that I asked for colors. So I would be like, colors. And, I have very good memories of just being set up in front of, kids' PBS TV, watching Mr. Rogers, watching Bob Ross, watching picture pages, and just painting.
Nice.
Like I was all set. My mom could go do whatever in the house. And I was just like, I'm good. And she knew that. She knew I would be like, I'm all set. I'm good. I'll just stick right here and paint. Yeah.
I'm just going to pop over here. I'm going to be good. Let me do my thing. I don't need you, Mom.
I'm all set. Yeah. Yeah.
So with that, so that was a very young age, and you're right. A lot of people do kind of share that. And I think, I look back on, and since you're a listener, you probably heard this in one of my previous episodes where, doing the public speaking, doing the, I guess, masters of ceremony sort of thing, I kind of discovered when I was younger. And I guess that was my first experience in that area, though I thought I was going to be a comic book writer. I thought I was going to be a comic book artist and all of these other things. But really, what's the through line for me is like telling stories and in helping folks tell their stories. So in that, why did you pursue art? Like out of being a kid and being exposed to it as a youngster, how were you? Why did you pursue art after that, and what led you to like life coaching and your work with Firefly Life Coaching?
Okay, so I'll start with the art aspect because that did come first, and with art, it's like it's always been there. It's always been kind of like this option. It's not that it's been like the only option, but it's always been like kind of like, like a fingerprint. Like this is something that I'm always going to have. Mm-hmm. And I'm always going to have some sort of aspect of this in my life, whether I'm, working a day job at a restaurant or what have you. And, then I'm going to come home, I'm going to make art. Mm-hmm. Whatever I'm doing elsewhere, I'm going to come home, I'm going to make art. It's just a part of my life. So it's been so integral to just who I am as a human being. Sure. I grew up in Baltimore, so it was always like, enroll the kid in art camp, send the kid to those weekend classes at MICA, go to Twigs at BSA, go to BSA, Baltimore School for the Arts, and go to, visual art there. And then I left the city for a while, studied art elsewhere, and then came back and finished at MICA. So, then I worked at the BMA for a bit. I worked at the Visionary for a bit. I worked in the gift shop at the Walters. So it's always been like, it's there and it's a part of what I do. Life coaching came on. Okay. So it came on early. Sure. And then I was like, never mind. This is bullshit. I'm not into it. And then it came up later. So I'm 42. And when I was into it as a youngster, I was 19, 20, 21.
Sure.
And I was like, ooh, what is this thing over here that's kind of combining spirituality, kind of combining just talking to one another and where that journey of speaking can go and what you can realize about yourself. So it has a therapeutic aspect, not to be confused with therapy. But it does have that I'm going to talk one-on-one with a person aspect, which can sort of run the line of therapy. Mm-hmm. But it has, and then it's a healing process to just kind of empty yourself and empty all your struggles, your challenges, your problems, and what's going to take you from that area and that, mindset that may still haunt you with these things. And what's going to bring you over into the life that you really want to be living.
Right.
And that's a beautiful part because I needed a life coach. I came to a point where I was like, I'm not doing the things I want to be doing. Mm-hmm. This is not where I want to be in life, but I don't know how to get over to B. I'm over A. I want to get to B. I want to have my life my way. And so then I started the journey to become a coach too, because it was so gratifying.
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I find you artist types. Well, us artists, I'm an artist. Us artist types, we're sensitive and sometimes we need that. How do we get our S together? How do we get these things kind of in place and, needing aftercare, needing someone to be able to talk to, and I'm always really interested in how one navigates. And then people ask me all the time, and you kind of touched on it before we got started, of you're kind of doing a lot. You're doing a lot of episodes. You're getting a lot of stuff out there. And sometimes you're not aware of, all right, how can I organize this better? How can I really process and reflect? And can someone help me coach through this? But we're I think a lot of times too focused on go, go, go. And then around us, everything is crumbling, but we don't really notice it because we paint it. We're able to paint it or something. So I think so is a lot of your clients or the folks that you work with, because clients sometimes sounds a little too, the folks that you're working with, is it mostly creative types? What's that kind of comparison there?
Life coaching for mainly visual artists. Yeah. I felt like because I am a visual artist, fine artist, I fall under that umbrella.
Yeah.
I could relate better because it's not just life stuff. It's also business stuff. And it's how life things reflect over into your business. If you're ready to call your art your business, the big B word, or your career, or you want to step into those words that really intimidate us creatives and us artists, as the immediate reaction is kind of like, ew, I'm not that. Yeah. I'm not, I'm doing projects. I do projects. This is a new project I'm working on over here.
Yeah.
It's not my business. but it would be nice if I got paid for it.
So you're using the B word. I like to use the C word.
Ooh, what is the C word?
Calling.
Calling is
I'm
a
being provocative.
term. A wonderful term. Calling is lovely.
Yes.
But
how are you being compensated?
When are you going to acknowledge your calling? And also, even for me, sometimes it's like, ew, I don't, and turn a profit. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you have to monetize every single thing that you're doing. I think that's become sort of a popular thing to do and think about.
You got to scale
and
it.
That's just that's gonna make you feel nuts.
Yeah.
You're monetizing everything. That's not a calling. Monetizing and turning what you love into your business. You can use the word artpreneur, which is kind of more delicate and a little more accessible than entrepreneur. But monetizing what you do and what you love I actually think it's a way to subvert capitalism, even though it is capitalism. It's a way to claim what you do and what you love and what is your calling as like, this is legit. Mm-hmm. This is now. This is like how I'm going to do my life and make it work. And, I am going to sell certain things and I am going to open myself up to that side. And I am going to get those tax reductions for doing the things, or deductions, for the things that enrich my life and enrich my well-being.
And it's important to kind of, people talk about intentions. I feel like I was joking about doing a interview using all of the buzzwords that people say in it. And those words matter and they're important and all of that good stuff. Mm-hmm. But I think when we speak on like talking about intentions and what have you, it's like really setting that stuff, but really setting it in a way that you can't just float through life expecting someone to kind of like supplement some of these things. You have to be able to navigate and, like, for instance, one of the things I like to do if I'm able to do it, if I have a couple extra ducats, it's like, all right, Joanne artist, you need something? Let me just send you something in your Cash App. You're a photographer. Let me send you some, like $80 for a film or something, because I see the spot that I'm in. And mm-hmm. I can cover my stuff. So if I have any extra money that comes in from, let's say, a sponsor or something, I could edit 2 of my podcasts on my own instead of sending it to my editor and maybe help the community out a little bit. But at the end of the day, capitalism is a part of what that process looks like. And mm-hmm. I think we have to reconcile with it and kind of reframe it in a way, like you were saying, with the artpreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes,
absolutely. Looking at it as... And it's such a big issue. It's such a big thing. And it's people refer to capitalism as a hellscape, especially for artists. Mm-hmm. And the only way out of that hellscape, not the only way, I've talked to a lot of people about this, but we're not living in an ideal society right now.
Right.
So right now, the way that I use capitalism is to really demand my worth and really settle on, not negotiating my pricing for my art, my pricing for my coaching, keeping those boundaries in place and knowing that the prices equal the ability to make more art and to eat.
Yep.
And to pay, my mortgage and to get a really cool jacket with my face on it that says I love myself all over it. Like the things that and go to therapy. Geez, therapy costs money. Yeah. Don't forget about taking care of yourself.
Yeah, people will say like self-care and things of that nature, but ultimately I look at like what is the root cause of things. Like my day job is very interesting. Like I'm a data analyst, and so doing this on the back end of it, they kind of serve each other. Of like, all right, analytically speaking, how can I make this into a process? And I kind of get down to the granularity of things, looking for root cause and things of that nature. So that affects how I think. So when someone's just like, yeah, I got a cash flow issue, I'm like, well, what's the root cause here? Because I see a lot of these self-care kind of things that you're doing, that it's just a lot of travel, but nothing that is helping you, nothing that is solving that root issue. And coupled with that travel is, hey, I'm broke. How can I do this? And you see those two things, and people don't attach those two things together. And I think you're right, where it's just like, maybe you look at therapy or what have you, maybe having some different boundaries, maybe you're undercharging. And that's where, like, having someone who has been in it and has been doing and making art and being able to have this approach of give me direction like you are helps. So in that, I want to ask this question. What within your work, and I think I have an idea, but what within your work, and you can answer from each sort of modality that you're working within, what about your work continues to fascinate you?
I love this question because there's so much out there within this umbrella of life coaching, and of course of art. My God, there's so much in art. Art is a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I think combining these in my life, this life coaching and this artist practice, is really enriching. And there's so much. Even I get. I've said this a bunch, like I'm still sort of squeamish about it. I'm still sort of squeamish about being like, oh, I'm a life coach and I'm into this stuff. I'm into Reiki, which is, not a lot of people know what that is exactly. And it's energy work, and it's tapping into source energy and channeling it through your hands. Like, what is that? What? You believe in that? And I'm kind of like, yeah, because it started to like happen to me. Like I started to, through life coaching with other people, I started to like really open up. And I had a yoga practice before. I got back into my yoga practice. I got back into that like opening up of all the ideas and all the life experiences and like all the more spiritual, more Eastern ways of thinking. I started to feel kind of like an opening through my arms and into my hands. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I feel like a little light bulb. Like, what is this? I feel like electric. I feel like, and I use the analogy of like the woman in The Fifth Element, when they combine all the elements together and then they finally get the last one, and that's love. And then she's shooting out light from her mouth. She's shooting it out from her hands and her feet. And I'm like, I feel like that, and I don't know why. So, all these things are so fascinating. And it's not just for me. You practice Reiki on other people. You give them this experience as well. You don't just hold on to it for yourself. And art is like that. You're giving these experiences. You're showing, an entry point into whatever your inner world is. Or you're exploring in your art what is going on politically. What is going on? What is your filter to like process it visually or process it through theater or writing or music? So like all these things are like these deep, deep wells. Mm-hmm. And it's so wonderful to go on an exploration, go spelunking into it. Yeah.
So could you describe the impact of your work, and coupled with that, and again, I think this is there, but it's more so for, as I'm listening to it, I get it. But, for the listeners, describe the impact of your work, whether it be like, people say, hey, you've changed my life with this, man. Or, and also, what does it reveal about your personality? And again, I think I have a grasp on it, but I want to allow you to, yeah.
Sure. I mean, yeah, there is like, you changed my life. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, that's what I want that feedback all the time. Do I get it all the time? No, sometimes it's not resonating with people. That happens. When I talk to somebody, when we're wrapping up sessions, or when, it's like the end of a program that I've been doing, and, I can see that they started at a place and they're ending at a place where things are brighter, where things are working, whatever they wanted to work on in their career or their art or their life or the intersection of the two. Things have improved, things have shifted. Sometimes we call it an energetic shift. Like your energy is in a better place when you're exiting. You like cleaning your room and you feel wonderful about it when you're done cleaning. Cleaning your room is not the fun part. When you're done with it and you're like, this energy is new, this energy is vibrant, I have places to go with these feelings of like newness and freshness and unburdenedness and like whatever it is. Because I know I'm being kind of vague about like whatever it is. Okay,
No, you're fine.
Maybe I'm not as vague as I think I am, because I do like to keep the people that I work with, their issues or challenges private.
Sure.
So, I want that to be clear. The funny thing, it changed in me. So I remember I did this personality test. I did Myers-Briggs just for funsies. For funsies, one day I was like, okay, I'll check out what Myers-Briggs has to say about me. And this was like 3 years ago. And I tested, and there's room for interpretation, of course, and I don't take this as the end all be all of anything, but I tested as an INFJ, which is the rarest. And this is like right when I got into life coaching. They label it the advocate. And they say it's someone who's more introverted, intuitive, feeling, and this is the kicker, judging personality types. I'm reading from it. It says you approach life with deep thoughtfulness and imagination, inner vision, personal values, quiet. Just so like that kind of person, that more introverted person. I did the test recently just because like I saw a post on Facebook about something and I was like, okay, I want to see what's going on now. Now I'm an ENFP, which is the champion, and it's way more extroverted. People-centered creators. I'm reading it again, with a focus on possibilities and contagious enthusiasm for new ideas, people, and activities. Energetic, warm, and passionate. ENFPs love to help other people explore their creative potential. And I was like, whoa, that's like a total 180.
Yeah.
From the more introverted person that I was to like really stepping out. And that's what life coaching does. You really step out and you're comfortable with it. Because I also know, being an artist, you want to be seen, you want to be seen, you want to be seen. And then you're like, holy shit, I'm getting seen.
Yeah, right. Stop looking at me.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes to yourself.
I want to go back in my studio right now.
Where's my happy space? Where's my bubble? I'm looking at it, and I think that I always kind of fall into that innovator thing. I guess the INFJ or TJ.
Yeah.
I'm not a feeler. I'm an Aquarius. In the gang, the Aquarius gang, we don't really feel. We're not the
sure about that.
Well, we don't feel in that traditional sense.
Or you're not acknowledging that you feel.
That's essentially me feeling. But you hear that. I hear the thing of being closed off in that way, but definitely having that big picture vibe and kind of thinking so far ahead and not really seeing those intermediate steps. For better or worse, that's pretty much me, and I see it. I see it all the time. But I think once you're dipped in it, and there are certain skills like in doing this, I am shy. I am not a work the room kind of networking kind of guy, but I can manage different personalities. I can have conversations like this and be able to go through it. But if we were to meet in a different capacity, like in person, like, oh, Sarah, over here, where's my corner? And so I think like it gives the vibe, it gives the impression that, oh no, you're great with all of this. It's like, it's an act. It's a complete act, not fake, but it's an act. And I'll say like being supremely confident in this area, that's the way I'm able to shift it versus this isn't networking. This isn't a conversation. This is me podcasting.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you telling the story, and it's well within your comfort zone for telling a story.
Yeah.
Can I
please
say what I'm seeing with you?
Please.
Like, okay. So like you, Mr. Lee, you started this conversation talking about when we started this sort of work,
sure,
both of us.
Yeah.
And you mentioned comic books and storytelling, and sort of like MC, master of ceremonies. And then you also mentioned, and I like to tell people story. Like I like to do that. So you're working within your parameters still. And you're like, okay, I don't want to be like Mr. Happy Sunshine skipping down the street, talking to everybody, high-fiving everyone. That's just not you. That's just not you. Maybe not every day. Maybe you have your days when you're like that. You're like kissing all the babies and you're like, hey, come on my podcast,
hey,
things like that. But, it's not what you fall back to, like who you feel you are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And who you feel you are is like this great storyteller, this great, like, I want to say, like, how you go to like a folklore fest and someone's telling stories, like that kind of like
the griot kind of,
yeah, that like journey of the story, journey of the like letting people have some sort of soapbox.
Yeah.
Some sort of soapbox. Like, this is a podcast. People are going to listen to it. People are going to hear it. People are going to sit down or do whatever while they're listening. And that fits within your comfort zone.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. That's how you're connecting with this need to, like, for this, it's be heard.
That's always been a thing or what have you. Even in other things that I've done, other podcasts I've done, I always look at that, or even projects. Like I do the movie screening thing, and it's like, I want people to be aware of these things. I want people to know about these things, and that's that thing I've identified that fills it up. And it's like people don't know anything about like Baltimore or what have you. It's like, oh yeah. Baltimore is this. It's like, you're probably wrong. Let me tell you about it. And let me have people get on that can really give you the real deets about it. And I don't like people being misinformed. And and I like being able to share like interesting things that I know. So in that,
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
So in there, I got a question for you right here. That and this is actually the last real question I have before I get to these rapid fire ones, which are not real questions. They are fake. They're bad questions. They're fun. They're fun. They're fun questions.
Okay.
So this is one that I came up with recently as I was, describing. I retooled some of my questions. How do you embrace your strangeness? Those qualities that make you unique to your field, whether it be art, whether it be life coaching. How do you embrace that strangeness? And that it comes directly out of a Robert Greene book. He's like, don't lose your strangeness. And it happened to be, it was the Daily Laws, and it happened to be the law from my birthday week. And I was like, no, I got to write this question down. This is a good question.
Awesome. I think strangeness is the most important thing. Don't lose it. I think I used to be really worried about how weird my art would be and how it would be received. And I think strangeness in art or uniqueness or whatever is setting you apart from anyone is so much your superpower and so much what's going to light you up. And like, that's what makes you this sort of beacon, this sort of like, that's your magic, don't dim that light, embrace your strangeness, give it a big hug. It's doing something right. for sure. And, that's what lures people in. That's what lured me into being on this podcast. I was like, "Ooh, truth is in the art." Yes, it is. What a great name.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you reading me a little bit there. I agree with what was said as I stroke my beard. So thank you for that. And all of the goodwill that we've developed over this 30 plus minutes here, I'm going to get rid of all of it now with these questions.
Do it.
Hope you're ready.
Bring it on.
So first question, and these are rapid fire.
Okay. So I can just yes, no them?
You can yes, no, or however briefly you can get. If you need to add extra detail, that's fine. But, favorite book?
I read so much. My God, you started off with the most difficult question. I really like Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Okay.
That's my favorite this month.
Noted. Big reader, voracious reader. Preferred mode of showing appreciation. Is it a clap, a snap, a whistle, thumbs up? Do you just laugh? How do you show appreciation for something?
I yell really loud.
Really?
I have a specific yell. I don't know if I can do it on this pad. Woo!
Wow.
That's me. That's me in the audience.
Okay.
That's Sarah. She did it.
I like to have fun in anything I do, so I'll create a voice that's not quite mine. So I'm like, yeah, and just it's like that might be Rob or it might be a cartoon character. Yeah, it's like you're bugging, homie. And also, if I find something really funny, when I'm actually really deep into a laugh, it's not great. It's like I'm sweating. My veins in my head are just out. And it's like, come on, man, you're gonna croak. So with that, this is a nice segue, and this is just me showing off at this point. What is something that, without fail, will make you laugh?
Oh, I am such. I'm such a sucker for fart jokes or scatological humor.
Wow.
It's like, why don't you grow up? And I'm like, no.
Like no interest in growing up.
No interest. None.
Yeah, I got some gems for you then.
Those will make me laugh without fail. I'm sorry. It takes me right back to middle school or whatever I was doing. I'm a silly person. Connect to that silliness of being young and laughing at poop jokes.
I like unexpected wordplay.
Ooh, are you a punner?
I'm a big punner.
Oh.
So I went to see the new Dune yesterday, and my partner, my girlfriend, she was like, yo, why does Jason Momoa look a little chunky? And I was like, maybe he's Duncan Hines, Idaho. She's like, will you stop? I was like, a little too much cake? No? All right, then.
That's so punny.
It's very punny. To the degree I call myself Big Pun on occasion.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, it gets bad.
I don't know about puns sometimes.
Oh, it gets bad. It gets bad.
It gets bad.
It gets very bad.
Very dad jokes. Sorry.
I'm 37, so this is just where I'm at.
Sorry, I don't know.
I mean, her son, he'll look at me. He's like 22, and he's got like the really great deadpan sense of humor, and he's like, is he going to keep going? Like he'll be talking about me. He's like, come on, don't get him started, please, don't get him started. He's not going to stop. And then on occasion, it's like half of them are, all right, that's inappropriate. That's really funny. And then the other half is like, come on, man, you just filling in the airtime at this point. What is your, and I think you touched on it, what is your most marked characteristic?
I'm going to say, and this is so external, but it's so me, my keen fashion sense.
I noticed. Yes. A lot of you on yourself.
Yeah.
Sarah on
bright
Sarah.
Bright colors, bright patterns, like the tights with the leopard print, with the stripes, with the funky chunky necklace, with the weird haircut, with the dyed hair, that's always been me, I think, since I was 14. It's always going to be me. I'm going to be quite the eccentric old lady.
I like that you can stay tapped in with like, and I think that goes to creativity at times where when you can stay tapped in with who you were and that remains who you are. Cause as you get further away from it, like it's not a word, but that touched, like that innocent creativity. I think when we're still tapped into that, we can kind of tap into something to be able to create broader and wider. And I think as we start to get any degree of like any modicum of like fame or notoriety or even having an ego develop, we get further away from it. So I like that you're still like tapping into that. Like, oh, this is what I used to do when I was like 14, or this is how I used to dress.
Yeah, in a way, it keeps me grounded. I mean, as like funky and out there is my quote unquote keen fashion sense, it keeps me who I am. Mm-hmm. It keeps me like I am not a beige person. I am not I am not Ralph Lauren. I am not, a preppier, more toned down person. That's just not me. And it keeps me tapped into who I am. Yeah. I like the way you said it, though.
No, thank you. It's hard for me to do that. I like to try to balance the fact that I'm 6'4", so that's a thing that I'm just going to stick out. Like, who is the monster with the microphone walking around? Oh. So I'll wear beige to try to do this juxtaposition kind of thing.
You're like, I'm not tall, I'm short.
Yes. When I talk to people, I sit down. It's like, yeah, let me run if I'm doing that like telling stories, let me spin a yarn for you guys while I'm sitting on the floor. This is the last question I got.
Can I ask you a question? Is that embracing your strangeness?
My strangeness, I think, is my sense of humor. And if I can crack somebody, I was like, all right, I'm going to keep like embellishing upon that. I just happen to be big. I don't really like being big or really live in that. That's just the experience. And when someone was like, hey man, you're tall, can you reach that for me? I was like, sure, that's, duty as a tall person, I guess. But I don't like, big dog in the house makes a space. I can't do that. I try to get out of people's way.
Like you. No, but I could see, I don't know. I'm like, what does his fashion need now?
It's literally.
I could see you in like a cool, like funky pattern button-up shirt. I think you could rock that.
I do. I have one that I pull out of the closet. I haven't worn in a little while. It's orange and black, and it's got like swirls throughout. I was like, this is fire.
All right. Kind of owning it, yeah.
Well, yeah. But it's kind of like a size thing sometimes too. It's like, I can't find the thing that I want, and that my partner is like, she's 5'2" and she can wear like everything, and she likes to wear the ridiculous stuff. And I'm like, you got angel wings on the day. I see. All right, cool. That's what we're doing. And I'm like wearing like jealous? A little bit actually. I was like, look, I hate it. You look great in it, but I hate it. Where's my Carhartt shirt? So this is the last question I got for you. Describe, however deep you want to get on it, describe your favorite journey, like a place that you've gone to or a activity that you've done. Because I think journey has a few different interpretations. Describe that, however deep you want to get into that. And this is where we're going to wrap up.
So I'll go with the freshest one in my mind. Because I just came back from Puerto Rico and it was awesome. And my only expectation of the trip was to get out of the winter in Baltimore. So I was like, okay, warm. I want to go somewhere warm. Just send me somewhere warm. I will be happy. And we get there, and this ended up being like a family trip with my mom and my sisters and my husband. And we get there, and it was just like, whoa, this is beautiful. And I'm so one for just like wandering around the city and just taking it all in. And we were in Old San Juan. Amazing. Beautiful, beautiful architecture. Amazing. Right by the water. We stayed in this amazing inn. We didn't, there's so many things we didn't know would be amazing. And then you go there, like this inn, it was called like the Gallery Inn. It was owned by an artist All her castings, old castings from sculptures were there. So many paintings, not just by her, like this elaborate carved wooden furniture, like a small pool with a wall with orchids growing, like just like the over the top of creativity. Parrots, little lizards. Then we go to the rainforest. We go to the bioluminescent bay. There are 3 bioluminescent bays in Puerto Rico.
Wow.
You should know about that because it's amazing.
The truth in the island.
Yeah. And then we go to a smaller island called Culebra. We go to a different beach basically every day. Got to swim with sea turtles. I mean, it was like everything was magic and everything was beautiful. And it was just like, boom, boom, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. and so that it was wonderful. And it's like, why does anybody live on mainland US? I don't know. When things like this exist and they're amazing. But now, I'm back home.
So there you have it. I want to thank you for coming onto the podcast and sharing a bit about your work. Absolutely. Thank you. And I want to invite you to tell the fine folks where to check you out, your work, and get some coaching if they're doing a creative thing.
Absolutely. And I love supporting Baltimore artists. We're all important. We're all important here. And you can get in touch. My website, firefly-lifecoaching.com. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, firefly_life_coaching. I'm even on TikTok these days, which I'm still feeling out, figuring out what's going on that platform. Visit me on Facebook, send me a message. I'm all for chatting. Find out more about me. Find out more about you, Rob, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna wrap up there. So for the great Sarah Magida, I am Rob Lee saying that there is art in and around Baltimore. You just got to look for it.